Hi, Vanessa Grossall, state legislator and co-founder of the Kentucky Japan Legislative Caucus. My question is for Mr. Krebs. You said that some of the process is speeding up for visas and things like that. You're seeing that. Is that happening also for those families from other countries that have been waiting in line to bring over a mom or a dad or a sibling or someone else that's related to them?
Yeah, not as much, for those aware, there's a process to get your brother from abroad. If you're in the States as a U.S. citizen, you can apply for your brother to get a green card here in the United States. The problem with that program is that you're going to be waiting 15 years until they process that application. I haven't looked at the most recent visa bulletin, which kind of puts those dates out. For family-based, I have not seen, I don't think, a big change in those dates, from 15 years for brothers up at all. We have seen a huge jump for employment-based green cards, though. A lot of employment-based green cards are in the employment-based second preference category, which is for individuals with an advanced degree. That used to be a 1 or 2 year wait a lot of the times, and it's down to no wait. So we have seen a huge jump forward in those types of visa availabilities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think just to add on to that a little bit, since I'm coming from the Department of State side, honestly, it really too just depends on where that application is coming from, whether it be like Mexico or Canada or Japan. Different embassies and different consulates, they have different wait times to how long it takes for them to process the visa. Simply because it's the nature of the beast, there's a lot more people applying sometimes for a certain visa, maybe for a brother out of Mexico than maybe Japan. And that's just the nature of the beast.
Bob Helton, retired, doing a little consulting now. This is a pretty broad question, and it'd be interesting to see if particularly manufacturers have a response. But as tariffs begin to develop, part of the justification we heard was to generate more manufacturing in the country, as opposed to importing goods. Any insight, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for that concept from a manufacturing perspective, to see any incentives to expand manufacturing within the country as opposed to selling parts and pieces?
I can take that one. I'll start. So I'm John Blosser. I haven't had a presentation, but I'm a VP in charge of our supply chain for Toyota Tsusho. So we have my group has like 1 billion in revenue. So we have a lot of customers and parts going all over North America and the globe. So the first point of it is supply chains are very complex, and what the OEM wants ultimately is to produce vehicles. And if we remember back, some of the challenges after COVID was everything jammed up at the ports, right? There were 100 vessels at a port of Los Angeles. No one can get their freight. In order to keep production, air freighting, diversions, trucking material across the U.S., a lot of money was spent trying to keep the production running. And then we had chip shortages, right? So there was a lot of disruption of manufacturing. The good thing about tariffs, in a way, I mean, there's a lot that's not good. It's painful, but the supply chain isn't being held up. Things are arriving on time. It's just very expensive. So to answer your question, I don't want to speak on behalf of the OEMs, but this is my opinion. Their number one priority is to produce cars, because that's how they get sales and revenue. The second priority might be to produce those cars without any downtime. That's still their number one goal. Secondly is, how can we do that more competitively? But to change these supply chains, like even if we said like, you have approval today, change it. It might be 6 months at the best, more realistic, a year. So it's very complex to do this, and One of the things that Toyota Tsusho has done to help our customers is we really created an internal slogan of taking this threat of the tariff and turning it into an opportunity. So one of the things that high dollars will do is put scrutiny on the supply chain. So there was actually a lot of inefficiency within our supply chains, or everyone's supply chains. So a lot of product, for instance, came into the US that wasn't for US production. It was put on trucks that went to Canada and went to Mexico to make vehicles in Mexico and Canada. So tariffs were paid that didn't need to be paid. So, and some of the reasons for that would be maybe those customers don't have factories in Canada, so they had to. So we proposed, like, why don't you use our warehouses? We'll import directly into Canada and we'll ship to the OEMs on your behalf, and then tariffs don't have to be paid. So like, they can still be the tier 1 to the OEM, but we'll just do the supply chain for you. So that's an example of maybe low-hanging fruit. There's still a lot of production in the US that tariffs need to be paid for, but everything is just slow to change. I mean, it's very hard for anyone to move quickly.
But it also costs a lot of money, right? And when we're in this period of uncertainty, it's difficult to make the decision to make the investment because you don't know if you're still gonna be in the same scenario in 6 months or in 12 months. And I mean, this is something we talk about a lot on the Hill, because over the past 3 years, Toyota Tsusho has invested over $2 billion in the US. And we have other projects we're looking at, but no one is going to be too quick to sign their name on making those investments if we don't know what the market is going to be like, right? So that's the flip side of it too, that you don't, it's very difficult to make these like high dollar investments when there is so much uncertainty.
The volatility is very hard for manufacturers to plan. We're, as a tier 1, we're working with OEMs out on, fiscal year 28, 29 vehicles. And just the not knowing where tariffs will be, what the next administration will be, it's, as you said, very hard to decide where to place investment and kind of your strategy.
I have a question for Mr. Chris. I'm actually on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm trying to become the first Afro-American woman to be a quad cit, and that stands for quadruple citizenship. So I will not have any problem in Saudi and Dubai, just get back. Meaning what I know is who I know. But could you privately, I'll come and see you, help me navigate citizenship in Japan, Europe, and possibly another country. Canada's pretty easy.
Keep your options open.
Yeah.
I like it.
But,
Global
so it's not that
citizenship.
I'm trying to go and relocate, but I know it's hard for people trying to come here as well. So I don't know how much scrutiny they'll put me under being a US citizen trying to have, I don't want visa, I want citizenship.
Yeah.
So I would love to come and see you privately.
Happily.
Thank you.
Go back when you get a qual.
That's right.
I had a question, I'm not sure if the HR aspect of it's just here, but even say we were to try to bring back all of that, as much manufacturing, is there the workforce to do it, right? So not just the workers, but you've gotta have all the specialized people to do that, and I mean, I feel like it's a flawed strategy from that perspective, but I don't.
A lot of concerns on getting the workforce, especially for factory level, right? New factory coming in, like that's a big deal.
Yep. I think we have to be very, just to say you want to bring everything back, we need to be very strategic what you bring back, not production that's low paying jobs, right? And, Conan actually, one of our old bosses who moved to Japan for a while and now he's in Europe, he said it's very hard to make manufacturing sexy. It's just, it's not, and as David said, they're trying to do a better job of ingraining it at a younger, age and